What's up, everyone? Coach Tony here with the Unfair Advantage. Today, we have a special guest for you from John Hopkins University. Super well requested school from all you. We have one of their amazing students with us today. So I'm going to have him introduce himself and we'll get started with the fun. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Kobi Kong. I'm from Southern California, but right now I'm a freshman at Johns Hopkins. I'm also the freshman class president, so getting involved in student government was something that was really fun.
Super cool. Awesome. So the magic question for today is if you can share your high school journey with us. So take us back, flash forward back a few years from ninth grade, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. What kind of student were you academically? What activities did you do like outside of school? And like your overall like mindset in high school and your path, if you can share about that with the students.
Yeah, for me, I feel like back in ninth grade, it was kind of a journey because I actually moved to a new state during ninth grade. So I kind of entered there with knowing nobody, not knowing anything. And I feel like that just kind of was just my general attitude at the time. I've talked to a lot of people and like they say things like, "Oh, I knew exactly what I wanted to be." I had no idea what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be, and honestly, I was kind of winging it at the time. And yeah, academics wise, I always tried to study and do my best, but I wasn't, and still am not a straight A student. I remember, I think freshman year was the only year that I got all A's, and I that included classes like PE, and we had our career readiness class. While other kids at my school were like they took classes over the summer so they could get ahead, and they were taking AP classes as a freshman. I just kind of entered in just a little scared and little not knowing about what I wanted to do.
Gotcha. Oh, gotcha. Awesome. So in terms of I think you said you moved as well too. So super interesting how you said only freshman year you got straight A's kind
Mhm.
of thing. Did that like were you aiming to be like college ready already super early, or was it like it just happened and you just kind of just kept going with it?
Yeah, I think with my parents, they were always like, education is the most important thing. So that was something that I always strived to be. I remember it's kind of this a little toxic mindset that I had during freshman year. And it was, okay, high school is going to be hard, but I'll just study hard for 4 years and not care about anything else and just get through it. And at the time, I thought that was a smart thing, just 4 years and then I can get into college. But like looking back on it now, that was really unhealthy for me. Just having focus on only one thing. I think I lost a lot of experiences that I think what I would have been better off experiencing, just hardcore focusing on just grades.
Gotcha. Awesome. So in terms of the academics, though, like digging a little deeper into that, were you like, did you have a college mindset going in of like, I gotta take every AP class, or how was that approach for you?
Yeah, that was my approach to. I did take all the AP classes I could, and it was kind of, I want to say it was a little bit for college, getting into that college mindset, but a lot of it was also just for myself, proving that I could do things. And because I feel like I based a lot of my personality at the time on my academics, so just kind of having something to hold on to.
Gotcha. Awesome. Cool. In turn, and I know you mentioned grades weren't like the like straight A's kind of thing as well too. Did that affect you in any way? Like sophomore, junior, senior year?
Uh, I don't think so. I think I might just be me speaking retrospectively, but I think because I've talked to a lot of my friends and at Hopkins, and they also didn't have perfect grades, and I certainly did not. And I think sometimes we get a little too caught up on that. But I got I think 9 Bs throughout high school, and which isn't like awful, but which isn't that 4.0 GPA that everyone talks about.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right. So moving away a little from academics, let's move to extracurricular activities. So besides school and sleep, what do you spend the rest of your day doing the rest of the day?
Yeah, I was in a lot of clubs. I was in speech and debate. I was vice president of my school's political and social activism club. I also did Future Business Leaders of America, and just kind of like those type of things. I interned for a hospital for just over one summer. And that was my only pre-med related thing I did in the entirety of high school. Yeah, it's
That's
kind of that. I was a really general because I didn't know what I wanted to do yet.
I love that. I think we'll definitely touch that on a little bit. But going back a little bit with the speech debate, the social active and FBLA, did you join those activities? Was it like I have to get to college? Let me pick certain things that look good, or was it because like I love talking, I love being an activist, I love business. So like, what was your approach with the clubs there?
This is a little embarrassing to say, but a lot of it, I learned to love these things, but a lot of it was at first because my friends were in it, and I was like, they're here, they're having fun, and this is something that like I wanted to try out, and I kind of fell in love with all of it, even if I wasn't necessarily good at it.
No, I think that's a great point. I think definitely a lot of high school students, it's very friend centric. Can you chat a little bit more? Maybe you've had experience with this. Like, did you feel, in a sense, you had a good core group of friends that kind of put you in like good activities, and the importance of like being in a good friend group as well too?
Yeah, I think having a good friend group is one of the most important things, even like college application wise, because having good friends, good people around you, that kind of shapes who you are personality wise, the kind of person you want to be, and having those healthy relationships, like even just mentally, and that leads to academically, you'll just do better. And I think having a good group of friends is really important for just making it through.
No, 100%. I think a common quote I tell a lot of students is like, you are the result of who you hang out with. So if
Mhm.
everyone you hang out with are very like on top of their academics and top of their activities, you also will be on top of your academics and activities as well too. So I think definitely friend group is a big core component as well too. Can you chat a little bit more about like your clubs? Like, did once you were in it kind of thing,
Mhm.
like how do you in a sense rise to the top of like how did you like get those leadership positions inside there? Is it because you just were very active, or how did you kind of move up in those groups?
Mhm. I feel like there's like this misconception that you just need to be perfect at what you do in order to rise. But I think a lot of it comes from just dedication and enthusiasm. I wasn't I wasn't always the best. I remember speech and debate specifically. I was in it for 3 years. I wrote my essay, my Common App essay about it. My letter of rec came from my speech and debate teacher. Throughout the entire time, I only won one competition, and that was like fifth place. And but I still was able to become the captain, not because I was better at it than everyone, but because I was dedicated. I wanted to get involved. I liked helping. I liked teaching, and it's just kind of that, the mentality of you don't do this for anyone else. Don't do it for college. Just do it for you, and those kind of leadership positions will naturally come.
That's a great point. Love that. Next one is now the internship thing. So how did that all come about? Was that also like a friend thing? Hey, we're applying, you should apply too kind of thing. So can you chat all about the internship you had during that summer?
Yeah, it was actually just spur of the moment because my mom was a nurse, so she kind of had a lot of hands-on with the medical field, and I was like, you know what, I'll try it out because at that time I still didn't know what I wanted to do, so it was just cold emailing, just shooting your shot everywhere and hoping somebody will respond. You only need that one yes to kind of explore things. So I interned with a doctor at his clinic for a couple hours a week, and it was just a really nice experience, and seeing them interact with people that kind of was like, oh, this is what I think I want to do, and that's how it went.
Super cool. I think something you said there, like it made me super happy how you said you just emailed a bunch of people. Is there a number like you could kind of estimate like these are how many people I called to get that one?
Uh-huh. So I think it was, I want to say like 15 to 20 people, and like not even rejections, but a lot of them just never responded. So, it's sometimes it's a little like sad, you get down, but it doesn't matter. You just need that one, and then you're good.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think a lot of students, I tell students, yeah, you got to go just because outreach. If you don't have the connections, you just have to like cold email exactly what you did. And they come to me like, Coach Tony, I tried. No one's responding. I'm like, how many people do you ask? I asked two people. I'm like, you got to ask more than two people. So I loved how you said you guys cold emailed a bunch of people and got that one. Going back, I think you also mentioned something a little super crazy earlier is how that's how you discovered like you enjoyed medicine.
Mhm.
I think so. Was that was this internship between junior and senior year, or is it between senior and college, or?
It was between junior year and senior year. And I remember because like I remember seeing all of my friends starting to like know exactly what they wanted to be when they grew up, and I was just here absolutely lost. So just spur of the moment, I just was like, hey, you know what, I want to try this out. And then I kind of fell in love with it. You know, a lot of it is just chance, waiting until you find something that works for you.
Awesome. So in terms of college applications, did you, in a sense, write pre-med, or how did that process go? Like from junior year, like were you like in a sense undecided at that point? Like I'm applying to college, I'm gonna be undecided, and then what did you kind of apply with when you applied to all your schools in senior year?
So I think I didn't necessarily do pre-med specifically. I think something that was important to me was finding a connection between all the things that I liked. Like I did a lot of communication stuff and business stuff, but I also liked medicine, which is why kind of finding public health as my major was really great, was something I was really grateful for because, you know, we humans just in general aren't one thing. So it's kind of, especially during high school when everyone's a little confused of who they are and what they want to be. So just, you know, finding something that connects all your interests is really important.
No, I love that. I think that's a great point. I like all students think like I have to be a bio major and all this stuff. Speaking of public health, though, I know like my school, I went to UC Berkeley. They offer public health. Not every school offers public health, but I know a lot of the big ones do. Can you share a little bit what that means? 'Cause I don't think that it's not a very popular major. That students are like they know bio right away. If they bio, they know chemistry. But public health is one of those like lesser known majors, but is growing really big. It's a really cool major as well too. So if you can share a little bit what being a public health major means.
So I kind of like to think of it like, you know, bio. That's for pre-med majors. That's like the what of medicine. I like to think of public health as the why of medicine. We focus a lot on communities. You know, why do these communities why are they more prone to diseases? You know, we also do like a lot of statistics, like why is this disease spreading? Especially during now times, it's very important to see. And I think the reason it stood out to me is it focuses on the patient, you know, that patient focused healthcare, you know, seeing why people get sick and what we can do to help them instead of just that like that hard, just scientific, just straight, concrete kind of mindset.
Gotcha. Stepping back a little bit, did you like when did you find out about the public health major? Was it something that when you were researching schools you were doing, or was it like I got into John Hopkins, now let me find a major kind of thing? So where did that kind of follow line of knowing that public health major?
A lot of it was just junior and senior year, just late night, like staying up to like 2 a.m., just looking at all the different possibilities of just careers. And I think I kind of just found this one thing, and then starting to seek schools that had something similar or had that major was something that kind of let me be able to find Hopkins.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think to summarize real quick, you're just exploring like kind of different career fields, different like majors and stuff. Then from that major, that's when you started finding colleges. Is that how your process was? Awesome. Can you share a little bit more about that, of like what schools then kind of made your list then? So like junior, senior year at the beginning, I know I want to do like public healthy stuff, right? What schools did you have like kind of started applying to and looked at?
So a thing that was with me was that I never had a dream school because I was scared that if I like focused too much on this one school and if I didn't get in, I would be devastated. So I was a little scared researching schools because I didn't want to get too, you know, like connected. But I kind of just found things about schools that I liked. Like one thing about Hopkins that I like is that we have that open curriculum or just distribution requirements. So I didn't have to take classes that I didn't really want to explore, which was something that I really liked. And finding schools like that, like Brown has also an open curriculum. And also living in California, you know, all the UCs are just amazing schools that everybody applies to. And I think just there was a lot of schools on my list. I think I ended with about like I started with like 25 and I had to cut that down to like 15.
What were the major factors that like you were cutting? Like you had 25 schools first, which is awesome to have like a nice big list to
Mhm,
kind of narrow down. What factors did you use to kind of start like cutting out schools?
mhm. Uh, I don't know how to like say this professionally, but a lot of it was just vibe, like just the culture at that school. I didn't want a school that was like someplace where I feel like I personally didn't fit. And I think that's something that is kind of hard to judge, but I think it's important to feel out. And also, things like if they didn't have the majors or programs that I wanted to explore, then I feel like a lot of people sometimes apply to schools for just names and that kind of clout, even if the school isn't right for them. So kind of just subtracting schools where it wouldn't fit for me or what I wanted to do.
Super cool. I definitely agree with that as well too. So you narrowed it down to your 15, right? How was that application? So bring it back to senior year for you. How was that whole process? Was it stressful? What were your days like applying to 15 different schools as well?
It was one of the most stressful moments of my life, to be honest. I remember some days I would just pretend to be sick so they didn't have to go to school and I could just spend a day writing up essays, which is something that I can't recommend you doing because it's bad, but also I am guilty of it. But I applied early to Hopkins, which was nice because uh, that it's something we like to call that winter break struggle, where if you didn't get an early decision, you just have to write 100 essays during winter break. But I also had to apply to the UCs because they have the deadlines early, and USC because they have that scholarship thing early. So it was a lot of work, and essays specifically was a lot of self reflection because it's writing down a part of who you are and putting your essence in just 650 words was a little terrifying. I remember that I had this 2 a.m., 2 p.m. rule where I would write my essays at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. The moments where I was just the sleepiest, like just woozy and delirious, but I could just emotionally just spill out everything on paper. I would wake up at 2 a.m., write an essay, fall immediately asleep, and then wake up the next morning and like, okay, now time to correct all of the grammar.
Super. That's the first time I ever heard that technique before used. So I'll call it the Kobe technique as well. In terms of the like I think like you said, so was it just you kind of editing these things yourself? Did you get support? How did that look like for you? Like once you had like your thoughts down on paper, like did you just edit yourself? You have friends, teachers. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think something important to do is let other people like look at your essay, but it has to be people that are close to you. Like I let all of my friends edit it because they saw who I am and what I wanted to put on paper. But also something that I'm wary about sometimes is when people have adults correct their essays. Like sometimes it's teachers, sometimes it's parents, because you kind of show a different side of yourself to those like authority figures in your life, which sometimes doesn't always come across on paper because you want to be that genuine you. So just finding that happy middle.
No, I think that speaks a lot. I think a lot of students need to hear that more as well too. Like the one advice I tell students, I'll tell, 'cause when I read it, I don't know you as much, so it's easy for me to read it. But when they say I let my English teacher read it, they read it from a different perspective, right? They read it as grammar. Grammar, this sucks, blah 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 blah, blah, and stuff for that. They're not because the thing that they need to care about is the you. I think you said the you factor, right? And I think that that's the big thing. A lot of students want to be perfect, but it shouldn't be perfect. It should be who you are reflected on the app. Also, I think that's amazing for that. So skipping for a little bit, why John Hopkins? That's the like the magic question. So why John Hopkins out of all the, or is it because you got into early admissions? But like, maybe you can share a little bit of that.
Yeah, okay, I'm a bad example of this because I did not think I would get in. So part of me applied on a whim. It was the best school for my major, and it was like my dream school. So I applied on as a whim. Didn't think I'd get in, but now that I got in, I'm like, wow, this really is an amazing school for all the things that I want to do. Public health is something that they are very big in, and something that their program has a lot of funding in. So there's a lot of opportunities for me there and just all the research opportunities. But I think one of the most important things is if you get into a school, like before you commit, talking to the other people at that school. I think it might have been because we were in COVID and everything was online, but we formed a community of kids who got in pretty easily and pretty fast. And just talking to these people and just realizing that, like, oh, my humor is the same as them. These are the people who I am okay with spending the next 4 years of my life with. Like, I think that's really important because the people at the school kind of make up the school. So it's just finding a place where you belong in that community.
Awesome, really cool. I'm gonna do one last quick question for me, and then if you're here live, you can drop your questions in the comments. If not, I have a few questions from students who submitted before, since they're actually at time of this recording, they're actually in school right now as well. So if you're here live, feel free to drop your questions. We'll try to get to as many as we can. But final question for me is, once, let's say you got into your school, so basically for a lot of students, some students who did early admissions or decision, they know exactly where they're going. Any advice on how they should spend the rest of their senior year?
It is very easy to get senioritis, especially early decision, knowing that you have that locked in. And I kind of fell to that a couple of times. But I think something important to do is that it's not over yet. You still have to apply for scholarships, and you still have to keep your head up. Gotta keep on getting through school, because if you don't, if you get a couple of Fs, their school might kick you out either way. But just kind of know that getting into your school wasn't the end goal. It's college, it's a part of life, and just getting in isn't the end. You still have to actually attend college, and you got your life ahead of you. This isn't your final destination.
Amazing. I think you segued it perfectly to our first student question as well too. One of the first student questions we have is, did you get any scholarships for college? So you want to chat a little bit about that in your example, in your experience?
Mm-hmm. So I feel like a lot of you guys are really lucky to have Coach Tony, who's telling you about a lot of these scholarships, because I was very confused and did not know about a lot of scholarships available. I applied to a couple essay scholarships, and I think I got about like $6,000 in total from 2 essays that I wrote. But yeah, I wrote one for Americans Against Gun Violence, and that was something that I was really proud of writing, and it got me some money.
I think quick going a little deeper. Were there resources that you use? Like, where do you find these scholarships? So I know students that do it, but they're like, where do I start? So how would students start looking for that, or how did you find the 2 that you got?
So I think for essay scholarships in particular, I kind of went about it the reverse way. I didn't look for a scholarship and write about it. I just sometimes had this moment where I was like, okay, this is something that I want to write about. And then I just Googled blank scholarship essay and just found a scholarship that fit the thing that I wanted to tell, which works sometimes, not all the times, but it's good.
That's definitely another unique approach. I've never heard that before as well too. So that I call that the Kobi scholarship. I think it actually works pretty well. I think a lot of students, because there's a bunch of scholarships you can just Google for stuff, and I think exactly that. If you have something awesome, then there's a lot of essay ones too. So just copy and paste, or reverse engineer the whole process. You have the end result. That's amazing. Never thought about it till now. Also, next question. Didn't have time to write it down, but the next question. I think you kind of answered it already, but we can go a little deeper of like if you did any pre-med things in high school. And I know you talked about, but you can share, I think, to kind of make this question a little different. I'm going to change it a little bit to like, do you need to know your pre-med or stuff, or do you need activities that reflect like your major in high school?
I am absolutely against the idea that you need to know what you're doing during high school, because we're like 16. You can't expect a 16-year-old to know exactly what they want to do, and colleges don't expect that. That internship was the only one medical thing that I had on my entire application. But colleges aren't looking for a person to fill out a major. They're looking for you, the person. Who you are isn't just one thing. You're made up of a bunch of different experiences, and you can't just sum someone up to just one specific category or genre.
Super awesome. That's it for the online questions as well too. So quick, so two quick little final questions. Actually, one more quick final question for you. So we are the unfair advantage, and with that, our goal is to give students the unfair advantage in college admissions, career aspirations, and life success. What is one tip that you can give high school students or anyone watching this video that you feel is like an unfair advantage tip to know, so they can pursue any of these futures?
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest thing that I want to tell people is to not be afraid to be you, because sometimes high school students, they want to become someone they think that colleges are looking for. Like they think that, oh, I need a 4.0, I need 1600 and everything. But you don't need to be someone for colleges. You just need to be you, and colleges will appreciate that. You know, they're looking for unique people who kind of can form that kind of community within their student classes. And I think that's something that people kind of forget sometimes. But yeah.
Super awesome. That's a great way to end this call. And that's it. Last 30 seconds are yours. If you want to plug, if students want to contact you, what's the best way? Or anything you want to shout out, up to you. You have 30 seconds.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram. It's always nice to reach out to people. So my friends are also part of another kind of slightly different college helping tool, College Arch. Check them out on Instagram. They kind of like pair people with mentors. So I think using all of these resources that you guys have will let you find a school that will be perfect for you.
Perfect. Is it College Arch, like ARCH?
Yep.
Perfect. College. Awesome. With that, thank you so much, Kobi, for your time. It was an awesome time. Everyone, hope you learned something new. And everything, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, everyone.
Bye.